Andrea.
Good morning, thank you. And I'm representing the European coordination via Campesina. Via Campesina is a worldwide farmers movement, social movement, and we are also in Europe. There are farmers in Europe. That can be the good news for you. And so it is clear that we are struggling on what is now the big event in Europe, the new common agriculture policy, and this is rightly linked on the issue. Because, for example, in the common agriculture policy, the land issue is never cited. There is no single line about the land issue. Land issue is extremely important also in Europe. Land grabbing is going on in all over Europe, not only in Eastern Europe, or there is a phenomenon of concentration of land also in Western Europe, but we deny that. In Europe we think that land issue is a problem of the south of the world. This is a big lie. So, to go directly on those difficult questions, and first of all, for us has to be clear, and we have to clarify that with all the social movement, the CSO. Well, agriculture, what has to do? Agriculture has to feed people. It's not an economic activity to remunerate speculative capital. Those are two things very different, and they are incompatible. So, if we have to feed the world, and this is the reason why we had so many institutions yesterday at this panel saying that we have to feed the world, we have to feed the future, this is the world. Well, we have to do that, and we have to do now in 100 years, in 400 years. So we can't remunerate speculative capital in 5 years' time. It is incompatible. It's not possible, because the remuneration of the capital is 20% each year, and this is impossible for an economic activity that a capital can remunerate maybe 3–5%, not more. That is speculation. All the land grabbing activity is speculation of capital. And thanks to you that you have presented all those interesting papers, everything is clear. There is no land grabbing activity now that is something that is linked to food security. First. And so this is the dividing point. We have to clarify that. If somebody thinks that agriculture can be something to give commodities, water machine or washing machine, we are not producing washing machine. We are doing other things. So this has to be clear. If we are not clear on that, that will be a problem. Then, in the matter of fact, what are the most important things to do? It is clear that for us, guidelines on voluntary guidelines on land tenure and natural resource is the main process. It's the only process. We will use Oliver the Shooter principle. This is to give input. This is the only process. There is nothing else. And it is clear that from our point of view, shouldn't be voluntary guidelines, but mandatory guidelines. That is clear. Because otherwise how we can do real policy? And we want that governments be accountable. But that means, and we have to remind always this, because we are talking a lot of private investment, but there is a hierarchy. Before we have public policy and public investment, then we will have private investment. And for the public policy, public investment, we need those guidelines. And we need that are mandatory, and we need a monitoring system. And in the CFS, that is born to make monitoring system of what was the World Food Summit output. We need to have there a monitoring system, and the government has to be accountable. I don't know if we will reach that, but this is the main important thing to do. About research, only one word. I think that it's very important that each of us do its role. We don't need researchers that do social movement, but we need absolutely research that work with farmer organizations. And we need action research on that. Thanks.